Everybody, it's the 8th. I am sitting down the street after a cup of coffee, um, and I want to tell a story. And I'll be publishing an article on this topic here shortly, and I've done a couple quips on it already because the theme is starting to rise, and I'm hearing it from other brokers too. So I got a business, owned by a CPA. It's absentee, service sector. Books are squeaky clean. Cash flow's clear as day on the financial statement. I think the first time we initially went to market, 4 offers in a week. I get hits on it daily, and went to contract with one buyer. And anyone who knows me knows I'm really, really blunt. So I told the buyer, hey, look, this is how cash flow is defined. I'm having to get back to a place where I'm explaining what owner benefit is. Oh, by the way, the sim already explains it. It's absentee, but we adjust back a manager's salary because that's how owner benefit is calculated. It's always calculated for a working owner. I get into the buyer profile, I qualify, I said, this is pretty slim. And they all want to do SBA, right? Everybody wants to borrow money because nobody has money. Inflation is squeezing people. They own houses with high interest rates. And by the way, here's another trend. Everybody's like 40 and under, right? So they're buying businesses because they're scared, or they're trying to buy businesses because they're scared of what's coming. Go to contract. She gets an accountant who starts talking EBITDA. I clip that pretty quick. I'm like, we don't do owner benefit. We don't do valuations on EBITDA. We do owner benefit valuations. And we've already discussed this. Now, first time buyer, but I already started getting spider tinglies that she was going to pull. She pulls, right? Go to Mark. I send an email blast out to everybody. 3 offers. We pick one. Another 35-year-old guy, has a job, single, no house. I have the exact same conversation. He too wants to do SBA. I'm like, this is slim. It's owner benefit. Do you understand? Yes. Gets in with the lender. I've got the pre-qual letters in the sim. Gets in with the lender. Lender's like, yes, it's doable. Either way, it's doable. It's qualifiable. We could do the loan with the manager staying in place or with you doing it. By the way, it's a $335,000 transaction. He starts to squawk yesterday morning. I talk him off the mountain. I get him a $10,000 price concession. Seller's gracious. Last night at 9 o'clock, he calls me. He goes, oh, I think the owner benefit is this. I need 2 more weeks of due diligence. Mind you, the owner of the business is a CPA. The books are squeaky. It's not complicated. What's the 2-week request for? The 2-week request is for him to go find an expert to tell him what the business is worth. So I call him. I go, we're not doing this. I'll ask the seller, but we're not doing this. I said, I've been doing this for 21 years. I've done, God knows, close to 480 transactions. You're trying to squeeze into a deal because you have no money. The buyer is the problem at this point. So I told him, called the seller. Seller's like, hell no. He's getting his money. He would get his money back in 2 years. Even with the debt structure, he's still making, his investment back in 2 years. Neither here nor there. So it got me to thinking. I'm driving to my appointment this morning. It took me about an hour. You know how in the last 10 years, Trump was complaining about fake news. Hillary was complaining about social media creating crowded space. Business brokers got the same problem. All of a sudden, because it's a fragmented market, people go in and fill the gap. The Cody Sanchez's of the world, who literally doesn't know her ass from a wall. The zero money down guys, the funny guy who wears a hat, who wears a nose strip. They are filling the logarithm of social media. Now, the tricky part is most brokers are my age or older who don't generally live on social media. And when you correlate that to the buyers who are causing these problems or a symptom of the problem, we have ceded the space, the sound room to these quote unquote experts to vocalize nonsensical valuation methods and BS. And nature abhors a vacuum. If there's a space in there, someone's going to fill it, whether the information is true or not. I've seen this time and time. You see it in politics, you see it in advertising, you see it in education. And when that happens, there's trauma and things are choppy. The seller last night was funny. He's like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you deal with people who don't see logic and can't add up. Now, on top of this, one of the really weird things about these two buyers is the fixation on the math, as if the quality of a business is simply the math. And then they turn to an accountant whose world is math to give them a valuation. And yet they do not look at the intangible components. Like, the reality is that a business with books and records is less than 20% of the inventory on the market. Scarcity applies. That there's a manager in place that's been there for years. Scarcity applies. That there's an annuity revenue model. Scarcity applies. That you get paid the same day. All these high quality elements of a business do not come into factor. It all comes down to math in the mind of the buyer. Now, that's not good business. Any good business person knows that. We call it quantity and quality of earnings. But as brokers, we're suspect. People aren't going to listen to us. We're just, as Martin Sheen says in the original Wall Street, broker's just a fancy word for a salesman. But it's going to be interesting. Now, the laws of supply and demand will occur. I now have to go back to market. I now have to call the buyers and explain to all these other buyers who are just like these other two buyers the reason these buyers on SBA have backed out. Look, at $350,000, putting 10. By the way, everybody wants to put 10% down or even less, and leverage themselves into thing, and that doesn't make a shit ton of sense to me either. But it's an indicator of the lack of capital access that people have, which will constrain deal volume if it continues. So I thought I'd just rant a little bit about this. I will have this under contract again today, because it is a quality business. But man, as I thought about this young guy, and I give him credit, he has a normal job, he has a W-2, he's saved up money, he's 35, and he's trying to get ahead of a business as a hedge. And I tried to say, look, dude, run your bit. You've got a manager. It's going to make the cash flow. If you do nothing but use the money to pay the debt down, you're so much further ahead in terms of creating wealth. But there's a gap in simple understanding of finance that exists with a ton of the buyers. And I blame the schools on that. That's a topic for another rant. But I hope you all have a good day.